Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximer and I'm here checking out Soldner X2, Final Prototype, the last chapter. Actually, I might as well say this because I'm going to have to anyway. The code for this I got from East Asia Soft included both Soldner X2 and its DLC expansion, the final chapter. So if you're wondering, if you just bought Soldner X2 and are wondering, okay, why the hell do I not have the last chapter? Well, yeah, it's a DLC thing. So the DLC will cost $5 and the main game will cost $10. So let's go have a look around first. Got your options down here. You can change your difficulty. There's a beginner and normal mode, and you unlock a hard, super hard mode at some point. You got high score uploading, sound, music, and controls. I'd like the ability to turn down the sound or turn up the music or whatever, or something like that, but some things we just can't have. And you got your controls here, your limit burst, your shockwave, and your main weapon, and your weapon changing. And you can also check the tutorials in the options menu as well. So, and also we got awards. So basically, the more enemies you kill, the more you level up, and you get extra credits for doing so. You can also unlock weapons and new special weapons, and you've got your keys on the right there, which are things you find throughout the stages, which let you move on to other stages. And we also have a high score list, both a local high score list and scoreboards for any particular mode you might imagine. I'm playing this before release, so I still somehow managed to have a place in the top 10. So there are two main modes. We won't go into any of the challenges in this video, we're just going to play the main game, but these challenges are unlocked throughout the game, and if you play them and complete them successfully, you actually get some stuff for them. Like, you get an extra credit if you finish the Survivor Challenge, which is complete the first 3 stages without losing your ship. Collector, which is collect 999 chain rings. And there's a bunch of challenges for the expansion as well, including this one, Defense Belt. Play the 8th stage for 2.5 minutes without taking any damage. And those challenges are actually kind of neat, because they actually give you bonuses for doing them, which I like, because it actually adds some longevity. This game has a lot of longevity for a game you can beat in like half an hour. So we'll start from stage 2. We won't play stage 1, we'll just play stage 2 from there. So you have 2 ships at the beginning, and there's a third one that you can unlock somehow. And both of these ships have 2 different weapons, and these 2 different weapons are actually quite different from each other. This ship here, the bounce laser and the scatter gun, the bounce laser goes everywhere. If it bounces off an enemy, or if it hits an enemy, it'll bounce off and hit another enemy. And if the scatter gun is basically a shotgun, that's how I'll put it. Shorter range, but lots of bullets. This one here, the bullet gun spreads out a lot of bullets over a long distance and a high spread, but they've got low damage. And the magma cannon is just one swerving beam. So the 2 ships have 2 significantly different sets of weapons, and I quite like that. We'll play with this ship first, because I'll try and show off both ships and both their weapons. No guarantees, but I'll try. So here we are in Soldner X2. It is a side-scrolling shooter, basically. So there are a bunch of power-ups and collectibles and stuff like that based on your ordinary sort of game. But there are a bunch of other things which I'll get into and explain right now. You've got your power meter in the top left there, which is you just destroy enemies, and once you do, you get power-ups, and that includes power-ups for your actual weapons. And the higher the power is, the more damage you do, and the more like bullets they fire off or something, whatever, it's different for every weapon. The meter on the thing on the bottom left, you have your two main weapons. So this is my bounce ray, and this is my scattergun. So I can swap between them using the shoulder buttons. I prefer keeping out the scattergun, but the bounce ray is useful. I just picked up a secret key, by the way. There are 5 of those in every stage, and finding all of them in specific levels will unlock more stages. It's simple enough. The game will tell you in a tutorial how that all works. And it's a reason to go through the levels again and again looking for these keys, because you're not going to get them all the first time. It's kind of ridiculous. But yes, the game is a side-scrolling shooter with a high amount of difficulty. Down the bottom left, you have a shockwave, which you get by getting a pickup, which is basically just a big ring of bullets that go all over the bloody screen. And you've got the other thing there, which is a series of 3 icons. Now, you can pick up a third weapon power-up. So I've already got one, which was the wave. But if you pick up 3 of those, it'll fill that up. And if that's filled up, you'll be able to press circle to do a limit break, or whatever the bloody hell the game wants to call it. Don't name anything limit anything. Because seriously, you're just going to get people confused with people who actually know what Final Fantasy is. But yeah. So the idea is that you've got 3 weapons, and you can use a limit break to do a ton of damage to everything on screen, which will probably result in everything except the boss getting one hit killed. And yes, I do actually have a limit break now, so I'll be able to use that. I'll use it one again to trouble. In the top right corner of the screen there, you have... Whoops, I just missed a few enemies. In the top right corner of the screen, you have the multiplier. The more damage you dish out without getting hurt, the higher your multiplier goes. But as soon as you get hit... Time for a limit break. But as soon as you get hit, you will lose some multiplier. So the better you do, the more score you get. But it also increases your rank. And the higher your rank, the more bullets you have to dodge. What's this tutorial? You are invincible. Huh. So I got a shield power up, so I get to be invincible for a few seconds. That's interesting. You may be wondering what these Sonic the Hedgehog rings are doing, though. Those are chain rings. And these chain rings, see how in the bottom right there, there's a meter? Fill up that meter with these rings, and you will get a power-up, as you can see down the bottom right there. However, if you don't collect enough of the rings in a short enough amount of time, and that little circular meter around the actual power-up runs out, well, you will lose the chain. Simple enough. So, it's gonna... Oh my god, why? It's gonna keep you on your toes, trying to go for all the rings that the enemies have dropped, because you get a free power-up for it. Although I really wish that it would actually come out somewhere else, because being down there means that the chances of it spawning right on top of an enemy or a boss is actually pretty highly likely, although I imagine that was done on purpose. Just to annoy me and me alone. Thankfully, you don't die in one hit in this game. You do have a health meter. And if your health gets too low, you'll go into a berserker mode, which helps you deal more damage. It's pretty neat. Other than that, though, the game is a pretty... I don't want to call it a typical side-scrolling shooter, but that's basically what it is. You've got a ton of bullets to avoid. It looks pretty gorgeous. I mean, look at it for just a couple of seconds. It looks great. I just got hit twice. That was unacceptable. That was unacceptable. And you do have a bunch of different stuff here. Like going downwards through those obstacles. There's one of those sorts of sections in every stage, and there's a mid-boss and there's an end-boss to every stage, and it keeps a variety going through all the stages at the very least. It's enjoyable. Ooh. Spread. I love this weapon. It's a great weapon. It's really powerful and makes you focus on dodging, but the third weapons usually don't work that well on any boss, so you have to be careful about that. Yeah. Yeah, as you can hear through this voice acting, it's not fantastic though. It's pretty cringeworthy. Like, cheesy sci-fi. Yeah, it's just a bit silly. But it doesn't get in the way of the enjoyment of the game, that's for sure. See, I'm only at C rank, and I'm starting to have trouble. I really like this dynamic difficulty system, because it means that the game will, since the game adjusts to how well you're doing, you never feel overly frustrated with how hard it is, and you can always put the difficulty down to beginner if you need to, which is a really nice touch. Oh, not great. I'm okay. No, I'm not. But the game itself is still pretty damn satisfying, even with it being as, well, not so much basic but competent as it is. It's just, it all comes together in a really well-rounded package. Constantly getting out of the way of weapons and avoiding a ton of shots and firing off your own shots and beating these gigantic buggers. I'm having a fair amount of fun doing it, that's for sure. I'm having a lot of fun, actually. What am I saying? Just a minimal amount of fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing this. It's a very well competently designed shooter, with the difficulty going up and down the way it does so that you never feel completely frustrated. it's always satisfying to play because since it adjusts your skill level. And I mean, I know I'm saying this is some brand new thing, but the difficulty scaling in this is done really, really well, and I quite like it. And I imagine the sorts of hard modes make it so that you're on higher grades constantly, so you're always taking more damage and having more bullets to avoid. Woo, health. And these boss designs are, well, they're completely and utterly, like, impractical, but they sure as hell do like to beat on you, and beat on you, and beat on you, until you have absolutely nothing left, and you're constantly improving as the game goes on. You're learning the enemy patterns, the bullet patterns, you're getting better at dodging. It's a really, really good game for teaching you what you need to do. And as I said before, there's a ton of content in it. All those challenges, and the fact that there's a bunch of different difficulty levels, and all the different ships give you really different ways to play the game. I'll go and play Stage 3 with the other ship, just so you can see how the rest of it works. And there's a bunch of different unlockable stuff. Oh, Shockwave. I'll go Shockwave. I might as well... Oh. Right, I probably needed to be in range for that to be of any use. That was embarrassing. But yeah, the game remains challenging and enjoyable pretty much all the time, because it adapts to your skill level, although I really need to stop getting hit. Fantastic. Shut up, pilot. Or whatever her name is. The game does have a story told through these cutscenes, but it's a bit iffy of a story, and besides, who would play a scrolling shooter for its story? That seems a bit silly to me. Then again, Liberation Maiden Sin does exist, and that's a visual novel sequel to Bloody Liberation Maiden on the 3DS. Funnily enough, that game doesn't even show up on the 3DS. Literally, Liberation Maiden on the 3DS, and then the visual novel sequel and everything, but it's weird. But anyway, we're almost done here. Boom. Down you go. I don't think so. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go to... I'm going to play Stage 3, and I'm going to play it with the other ship, so you can see how that works. But yeah, all the content this game has, the fact that it remains challenging but not frustrating thanks to its difficulty scaling, and you can have it be as easy or hard as you like, and there's a bunch of different challenges for you to do, and a bunch of unlockables, and hell, even the DLC, which is $5, it adds 3 new stages and adds like a ton of extra challenges and trophies and all that. Perfectly enjoyable, even on its own longevity. For a game that you could beat in about an hour, it has a lot of reason to come back and play it again to get more stuff. And I am enjoying it pretty immensely. Bullet gun and magma cannon, yeah. Let's go. And technical performance is great. I mean, it's basically just a bunch of 3D sprites on what looks like a pre-rendered 3D background. I could be wrong on that, though. The game does look pretty magnificent, though. The effects are great. The enemy designs are cool, but not too cool as to be distracting. Not exactly fantastic enemy designs either, but they're fun to look at. And the game just controls perfectly. And if you move into a bullet, it's your own damn fault, you dumbass. It's your own fault you won't be getting number 1 on the scoreboards. Yeah, this is the bullet gun. It's fairly weak, but thankfully the developers had the smart idea of making it so that you at least have one weapon where it's basically spray and pray, so you can focus on dodging all the bullets that come at you while you're in the process of firing a gun and just not worrying about whatever the hell is being hit, which is the best thing you can do in a shooter like this with a ton of bullets everywhere. Last thing you want to be focusing on when you've got a million enemy bullets flying at you is trying to figure out where the bloody hell the enemies are so that you can shoot them. And, well, thankfully this game avoids that problem pretty easily. And the music's alright too. It's not something I'd put on my Spotify playlist or anything. I'll give you a listen. Yeah, not exactly something I'd call amazing, but at the same time, it works perfectly well in the concept of the game. And I have no problem with music. Your music doesn't have to be fantastic, just make it fit the game, and this fits the game pretty well. So, you know, not a problem. I'm totally fine with the music the way it is. It's extremely satisfying to play. It's got a ton of stuff to do. It's never too hard. Although it can certainly make me look like an absolute savage just watching me play this on a easy difficulty. So you know, it's perfectly fine. I enjoy this a lot. I really do. It's a really fun side-scrolling shooter. And thankfully it isn't anywhere near as difficult as Sign Mora. That game was amazing, but Jesus Christ, was it hard. Hold on, I'm gonna just do my limit break. There we go. Try and avoid all of that. Magma Cannon! Actually, you know what? Enjoy the rest of the stage without any commentary. Ah, that was fun. I did terribly on that guy the first time around. But yeah, that time I didn't do that bad at all. Yay, I got a C on that stage. So I'm just going to quit the game now, and this will be the end of this video. So, that was a look at Soldner X2, the final prototype, the final chapter. Well, whatever the bloody hell it's called, the last chapter. That would be confusing, wouldn't it? Soldner X2, final prototype, the final chapter. That would be very confusing. Actually, didn't actually quit the game there. Well, that's a tiny bug, but that's nothing that's worth worrying about. So yeah, this has been Blue Maxima. I highly recommend Soldner X2. It is a fun game. It comes out next week, in next week's PlayStation Network update, for $10 for the base game and $5 for the last chapter. And you can buy them both together for $15, or your regional equivalent, as it is coming out in the United States and Europe next week. So, that's that. I'll see you all next time.